Hey, how's it going, guys? Greg Jenkins here from MonkeyPod Marketing. Customer journey it's such an important concept for small businesses, for really any business, but specifically for small businesses. And it's a topic that I have spent a lot of time both researching and then also taking the lessons that I have learned and like distilling them into advice and actionable steps that other people can use to benefit from the potholes and pitfalls that I've traversed or seen other businesses, stumble over along the way. Let's start by unpacking the phrase customer journey a little bit, because I know if you've heard it elsewhere, it might feel a little fluffy. It might feel like a buzz term, but the truth is, I believe that the customer journey is irrefutable. I believe that it is just an undeniable truth for every small business, and that once you start to accept, hey, our business has a journey or several journeys, then it becomes a game of like, well, let's design it. And what should that journey be? I think of your customer journey as sort of like your health for a human. Whether or not you focus on it doesn't matter. Your health is there. It doesn't mean it's good. It doesn't mean it's bad. But once you start to focus on it, then you can start to shape it. You can start to make it what you want. You can pay attention to certain things and choose what you put into your body. And similarly, your customers, if you've had people buy from you, then they had a journey. And whether or not you designed it is sort of the question. Because if people are going to have a journey, it's going to shape the relationship they have with your brand. And so it is my opinion that the relationship that they have may as well be shaped by an experience that you or someone in your organization crafted for them intentionally and strategically, right? Not just here's what we want to happen, but here's why we want that thing to happen. So let's zoom way out. In broad strokes, the customer journey is simply a pathway that takes someone from point A to point B, right? So it might be as simple as the first point of contact with your business when they encounter your website or one of your social media posts, all the way through becoming a customer. But one of the traps of customer journey is too many businesses stop the journey or stop planning the journey at the point of transaction when somebody becomes a customer. And as you and I and most business owners know, the lifetime of their customerhood or their relationship with your business extends far into the future past that, especially if you have multiple products, things that they might come back to buy. Or if you have a continuity program or a retainer-based business or anything where they're paying you on a monthly basis, a membership, for example. So maintaining the relationship after that initial point of purchase is sometimes actually more important than the journey that led them to that point of transaction. And then, of course, as your relationship with that customer evolves, as you fulfill on the services that you've delivered, the goal would be to have that person either buy more or buy again, or tell others, right? And help accelerate the marketing path and pathway that you've designed for leads and prospects. So here's the way I like to think about it. The customer journey can largely be broken up into three sections. There's like capture leads at the front end of that journey, if you picture like a linear pathway. And then there's the middle section of that journey, which is the section focused on converting those leads into clients. So capture leads, convert clients, and then deliver and impress, right? Let's go a step beyond simply delivering your service. Deliver and impress, where you are actually going above and beyond what they purchased. You're exceeding their expectations, and you're actively creating fans, people who are proud to be your customer, people who feel really good about the decision they made to spend money with you, and people who are willing to tell others because their experience was just that good. So those are the three stages: capture leads, create clients, and create fans, or deliver and impress. And I'm going to waffle a little bit on the language that I use in describing this, because the vernacular is a personal preference. And I want to invite you and empower you to change the language of these high-level phases or the individual stages that I'm about to talk about, to change it to fit your business model or your industry. I'm not romantic about the specific terms that I use here, but the concept, I think, is really what will serve you. And the concept is this: when you think about your customer journey, it's important to break it down into stages. I use 9, but you're welcome to use more or fewer. The point is to create a framework that forces you to think through and plan and account for each touch point or each stage of the customer's journey that might include touch points. So in the capture leads section, there are 3 stages: attract, target, and capture. So attract is, general traffic strategies. How are people finding out about you? Whether it's, the SEO you do on your website, or the paid ads that you might sponsor, or, events that you do in the real world, or partnerships, right? Things like that. And then target is like, well, who are we a good fit for? And that's where it gets really important to make sure that you are spending your ad budget efficiently, that you are targeting people that are aligned with the service and the products that you offer, right? And then the next stage is capture leads. So taking those people who have expressed interest, and then have some sort of exchange where you give them something of value for their information, right? That's the initial time that they go from being an anonymous visitor to being an actual lead, or an actual prospect who has raised their hand and said, hey, I think I might be interested. And then in the next stage, the next section is convert clients, and you will. It starts by engaging them, delivering the thing that you offered. So if people are signing up for your blog, or for a demo, or a consultation, or an ebook, or a quiz, or a challenge, right? It doesn't matter what they're signing up for, but the next stage is to engage them, is to deliver that, to start a conversation. And what I emphasize about this particular stage is that it should be valuable for them. If this is your first impression, you don't want to hide things behind the curtain. You want to be willing to give them something that gives them an accurate representation of what they can expect when they work with your business. And so my recommendation is to make your lead magnets sincerely, genuinely valuable. Even if it's something that you would normally charge for, the exchange is that you're getting their information, you're getting their expression of interest, and you're getting the opportunity then to follow up with them. And that's the next stage, which is to offer. So once you have engaged them with whatever that thing was, guide them toward the next step. And this will look differently for every business. It might be an on-the-phone, sales conversation. It might be as simple as sending them a link to your website, or anywhere in between, depending on what it is you sell and how you sell it. But there needs to be an entire stage of your customer journey dedicated to getting that person prepared for the sale, and to making that offer, that prescription for them. Here's the thing we offer, and here's why we believe it'll be a good fit for you. So that's where you assuage, doubts. It's where you address any objections that you have seen in the past. It's where you prescribe the solution rather than just recommend it. Based on the quiz results, or based on your consumption of this free trial, here's the thing that we are guiding you toward next. And the stage after offer is convert. And I actually think those two are oftentimes pretty close. The offer and the conversion ideally would happen in the same sentence, or the same breath, or the same day, but they don't always. And so it's important to treat them as separate stages, because that forces you to ask, well, how long does it take them to get from one to the other? And what is the transition? And how have we accounted for people who don't take us up on that offer right away? So by breaking these individual stages out, it gives you the opportunity not just to focus on and compartmentalize each section of the journey, but also to design a thread that makes it a cohesive and fluid experience all the way through. So convert is the stage that we were talking about. It is where they actually become a paying customer. And again, that could look a bunch of different ways. Maybe you accept a credit card over the phone. Maybe they sign up on your website. Maybe they slide you a briefcase full of cash in a parking garage somewhere. It doesn't really matter how the transaction takes place, but you should have a plan for that. And I call it out as its own stage because there's a lot of variables that go into that, right? That's a really important milestone in the customer journey, because if you don't have customers, then it's going to be hard to stay in business, right? So ironing out the wrinkles that may occur, considering all of the variables and making it as frictionless as possible for people to become customers is incredibly important. And then having a system in place to fulfill on whatever it was that they bought. The next step is to actually deliver, is to fulfill on the purchase. And this is going to be dependent on what you purchase, or on what you sell, rather, on what they bought. So think through, like, what is it that people are buying, and what is the experience that happens next? If it's an online course, do they get their credentials automatically? If it's a coaching program, does the initial email come from the business owner or from the person who they're going to be working with? Do we give them a scheduling link on the thank you page so that they can book their first appointment, or does that happen in an email? So the goal of this framework is not to give you a formula that you follow, but rather to give you a framework you can use to organize and prioritize the things that are already happening, or to improve them, right? To optimize the things that should be happening in your business, right? I find that too many small businesses, it's hard enough to sell something, right? So when you make a sale and you start fulfilling on it, oftentimes whatever you do the first time just sort of becomes your process. And so the goal of lifecycle marketing as a framework is to organize the things that are happening in your customer journey. And I actually may be using that term out of context. I don't know if I've mentioned specifically lifecycle marketing, but it is the framework that we recommend you use to organize your customer journeys, right? So these 9 stages are the lifecycle marketing framework, and they are a tool for systemizing the things that are happening in your business, so that you can look through it with this lens, and you can spot gaps that may exist, or you can spot opportunities for optimization. That's the goal. So anyway, the delivery stage is where you focus on giving them what they asked for, and probably then some, and figuring out, this is a key opportunity for where you might be able to use automation to do the heavy lifting, to make sure that their experience is reliable and it is consistent. Because my opinion is that automation should be used to enhance the customer experience. It should be used to as an extension of what we as humans would do anyway. So I say that because when it comes to talking about or thinking about automation, too many small businesses kind of bristle at that concept, because we have all had automated experiences that didn't feel good, that felt cold and robotic. And I want to pause there, because automation doesn't have to be bad. It doesn't have to be cold and robotic. If it is done well, if it's done poorly, that's the outcome. But if it is done well, it should feel seamless and intuitive. It should feel like an extension of what you and your team are doing anyway. I think of it this way. You're the architect, and so the automation and the systems you design should be an extension of what you want to have happen. It's not some arbitrary experience. It's intentional. It's curated, and the benefit of using automation is that it does it every single time the same way. So consistency is what's created, and consistency is what gives you speed as well as predictability. And predictability allows you to make decisions that guide your business forward with confidence, because if we put this many leads into the journey, we're going to create this many customers. And if we put this many customers into the journey, we're going to create this many upsells or members or advocates who tell other people. So I'm getting ahead of myself. The next stage after the deliver is impress. And I call this out as a specific stage because it's important to think about, how can we exceed our customers' expectations? What sort of a bonus can we give them? How can we add a level of personal touch? And maybe it's as simple as a thank you card. Maybe it's a gift basket. If it's a high-level ticket item that you sell, maybe you send them something physical, a gift in the mail, something that stands out. But think about, as a consumer, the businesses you have worked with that have gone above and beyond, and find a way that you can make your customers feel special and important and valued when they are your customers, right? Because if all you do is deliver on the expectation that you have set, it's going to be hard for them to differentiate from the other experiences that they've had elsewhere. And what we're driving toward, what we're hoping to create, is fans, people who not only value the service that we offer, but value and appreciate the way that we offer it. It is easier than ever to start a small business. It is easier than ever to build a website and start selling something online. And so with that truth, I think that more and more the thing that differentiates businesses and the way that consumers will choose who they want to work with is the experience that we create. And so being intentional about going above and beyond will take more of your customers and turn them into fans, people who buy again, who buy more, so a second purchase or a new product, or people who tell others. And that's really where this framework becomes a multiplier. Not only does it organize your customer journey. Not only does it help you design and organize your customer journey, but it also should multiply the rate and the volume of people who make it through these stages. And here's the key. When you create fans, they will tell other people who are like them. So if you are targeting the people who you are a good fit and can serve, they will naturally have other people in their network who you could also serve. And when the experience that you create is one that makes them want to tell their others or tell their friends, they will. And the benefit of those referrals is that oftentimes they progress through the stages more rapidly, or they just jump in right at the point of conversion, right at the point of offer, because they have some inherent trust. Knowing someone who has worked with you and had a positive experience, they don't need to go through the cold traffic, the opt-in, they're not kicking the tires because they've already made up their mind. They're coming into this with some context, knowing that they have a non-biased experience or testimonial from somebody who they've already grown to trust. So the benefit of creating a systematic experience that produces, raving fans is not just that those customers spend more with your business, which is probably what's going to happen as well, but that they will actually do the marketing for you to a certain extent, and they will refer people who accelerate through that pathway and become customers at a more regular and more expedited rate. So really, this is a multiplier for your business. So let's zoom back out. I started off by talking about customer journeys. That is the pathway. It's what takes people from point A to point B. And your business, if you only have one product, and there's only one way for people to buy it and only one way to get it fulfilled, it may be a linear customer journey. But most businesses have multiple customer journeys, and sometimes they converge and sometimes they diverge, and that is okay as well. So my recommendation is to map the customer journey for your core offering. Whatever it is that is your core offering, and the way you can figure that out is by, if you sell 5 things, ask yourself, if I removed this, would I still be a business? If I removed this, if I removed this, or if I removed this, and whatever the one thing is that you couldn't remove and still be a business, that's your core offering. And so my recommendation is to start with that product and to draw a line in either direction from it, right? So if that transaction, purchasing that product, is the fulcrum and you draw a line out in either direction, you get everything that happens before the purchase and everything that happens after the purchase, and the composition of everything on that line is your customer journey. And it's already there, right? If you've had customers, they have had a journey. And so you take the 3 sections, capture leads, convert clients, and deliver and impress, or better yet, you take the 9 stages and you lay it over your business. You lay it over that journey as a framework, and you use it to organize and analyze, okay, what's the journey look like? Where are these people coming from? Where's the traffic coming from? How are we targeting people? How are they opting in? How are we engaging them? How are we, making the offer? How are they becoming customers? And you ask at each stage, what do we have here, right? And here's what will happen. You'll either identify that there are gaps. There might be stages you skipped entirely. Hey, we deliver the product, but we really don't impress them. We got to go back to that. Or we impress them, but we really don't multiply them. We're not asking for testimonials. We're not asking for referrals. We're not, guiding them towards an upsell or a partner program, right? So you might identify that there are gaps in this. If you do, then that is where you go to work. As you're asking with these 9 different stages, or 10 or 12, however many stages you think you have in your business, it's not important that they are these 9. It's just important that you have a granular look at what the reality is, so that you can identify what stages you may have skipped and what gaps there might be in your customer journey, where people might be slipping between the cracks, and that is where you focus. That is where you prioritize. That's where you go to work. And then the second thing that you can use this framework to do is to identify, well, what stages are just a little bit light? What stages could we be more intentional? And where could, if you have maybe a week's worth of follow-up after they opt in for something, that's fine. But if you know that your average buying cycle is 3 months, then a week's worth of follow-up probably isn't enough. And so you might identify that some of these milestones, some of these stages, you need to go make them a little bit more robust, or you need to add some extra love for your customers to make them feel led and supported throughout every stage of the experience. Now, The final thing that I'll add as a third process. So number one is identify the gaps. Number two is to make their stages better and to make them intentional, because oftentimes the different stages weren't designed with respect to one another, because they may have been designed at different times or by different people or at different stages in your business's maturity or development. And so it's important to use this framework to not just make sure you have something there and to make sure that it's intentional, but to also make sure that it is designed with respect to everything else, because as valuable as these individual stages are, they're part of a cohesive, overarching experience. And it's important not to lose that thread. The journey is one collective experience. People don't experience it in a vacuum. I got distracted again. It happens from time to time. The third point, the third recommendation I have for you is to then, once you've made sure that you don't have gaps and that the stages are designed intentionally, is to ask yourself, where could automation make this experience better? Where could it make it more reliable, more predictable? And where could we take some of the things that our team is doing manually and use automation to make it a better experience for the customer and to remove that thing from our team's plate? I'm not saying you automate people out of a job. I am saying that there are some things that automation is just better suited for. It'll create a more consistent or predictable experience for your customer. It should free up the time for the humans on your team or for you personally to do the things that are the best use of your time. Automation doesn't necessarily remove people from the equation. It just allows them to be applied more strategically in the areas that we need a human to make a decision or we want a human to interact. So that's the customer journey concept. And I talked through it for a singular product, your core offering. But the truth is you might have multiple offerings. You might have multiple journeys, and that's okay as well. So start mapping those. You can use this lifecycle marketing framework to organize them. And what you might find is that there are sections of different journeys that can be repeated, where you can like tap into an existing follow-up process, or you can tap into an existing sales process. So you might have 2 or 3 lead magnets that then feed into one singular journey that guides to the sale. And then after they become a customer, you might have 2 different journeys after in the fulfillment area that are slightly different depending on what they bought or what you know about that person, right? So this framework and this concept, it is an invaluable tool that doesn't work in a singular way, but I believe that it is the most important lesson I have learned as a customer, as a small business, because your customer's experience is directly and proportionately tied to your business's health, right? The more you focus on the experience you are creating for your customers, the more of a residual and multiplicative effect it'll have throughout every aspect of your business. So that's where I will leave it for today. The customer journey is the pathway that guides them from point A to point B, and it already exists in your business. The life cycle marketing theory and mindset and framework is a way of thinking. It is a tool that you can use to organize and analyze that same journey or to design it and then to improve it. This framework is not a, lay it over your business once, check all the boxes and you're done. It's a cyclical tool that you will use to create iterations of your customer journey. And the beauty of this framework is that each time you lay it over your journey, it reveals the next thing you should be prioritizing. So it's not a matter of getting it perfect. It's just a matter of continually making improvements to the way that we are serving our customers, and therefore our business will be serving us back as well. Hopefully you have found this valuable. Take care.